apologize for last week missing. Just happened to be a holiday in Utah, and I guess got caught up in the excitement, and I apologize for missing last week. And that was all my fault. I wasn't Lydia, anyone else. It was mine. I should have sent out something letting everybody know about the coaching last Tuesday. So that was my fault. I apologize again. So over the last 5-6 weeks, we have been talking financials. We've been talking about P&L sheets, balance sheets, cash flow sheets, how to read a P&L, how to get the basic numbers that you need within your financial sheet, what to look for in your own business, and how to calculate. We've talked about the margins and where each of those margins should be. We're coming down to the last webinar or two, and I wanted to go over this. And I was asked to by a couple of people just saying they remember when they came through training, I had talked about ways to increase business. And as part of one of the last webinars, I wanted to talk about just certain things that we can do to make small changes. When you make small changes in the business, that's what makes all the big difference. If we're not getting the results that we need, make a few changes in the business. It actually can help it. I'm going to talk to you about some of those small changes. And, when I gave this webinar before, I was just talking about a few questions. And some of the things that we ran out is, if you actually put $3.75 away every single day for the next 25 years and received a 7% return on your investment, that adds up to be about almost $300,000 by the time you retire, just by putting, again, that $2.75 away. It's just small changes. I also asked the question, would you rather have somebody pay you $20,000 a day, or would you rather have 1 penny and have it double for 30 days? If you got paid $20,000 a day for a month, you would have $600,000 at the end of the 30 days. And that sounds like a whole lot of money. But if you actually take a penny and you double it every single day, by the end of 30 days, you have $5.7 million. It's just making small changes. For everybody, it's just small changes. And so we're going to show you just briefly about increasing profit. There's very few things that we can do in order to increase the profit. And they all fall into the 5 categories. And everybody had this at training. And if anyone's been to any of my seminars online, I've talked about this. I want to hit it on it again. There's just those 5 areas. And it's the only 5 things you can do to increase your business. The first of the 5 ways is, if you want to make more profit, the first thing we got to do is we have to have more customers. Those don't just happen. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment, is getting the more customers. But that's the one thing we can do in order to get more profit. That's the big duh. Everyone always talks, yeah, I just need more prospects. Well, actually, we don't need more prospects. We need to have a better conversion rate. The second of the 5 ways to increase our profit is we have to increase our conversion rate. And in business, and I'm going to show this here in just a moment on a spreadsheet I put together, is there's, in your business here at Spectrum Home Service, there's actually 2 conversion rates. The first conversion rate is from you marketing for them to actually call on the phone or send an email or something. That's a conversion rate. The second one is actually closing them, meaning once you're at the home or you're on the phone with them, you give them the price, yes or no. That's the second conversion rate. The third area to increase your profits is increasing our average dollar sell. That simple, is how do we increase our average dollar sell. Fourth of them, this is the one that makes people wealthy, is how do I get my customers to buy from me more than one time. It's easier to keep a client than it is to get a new one. And so once you have one, it's easier to sell as well. The 5th one on there is our profit margins. How do I increase my profit margins? How do I get more efficient? So I'm going to actually show you an example here, and I'll send this to those that want. It's just a simple spreadsheet that I put together a couple of years ago. But I'm putting those 5 things that I just talked about on here. You'll notice there's 6 things on the left. Everything in blue was part of that, was part of the 5 ways that I was talking about. I put a 1 and a 1A. So we have our number of prospects. And looking here on the left-hand side, one's in a dark blue, one's in a light blue. We have our number of prospects. We have our conversion rate. We have our average dollar sell. We have our number of transactions. And we have our profit margin. When you look at your business, you put your numbers down. Once you understand where your numbers are, that's when we can start making changes. And so the first thing I want to bring up here is our marketing, because I told you that there's 2 conversion rates. First one is from our marketing to actually get the phone to ring. And we can do this for every time we do any sort of marketing to find out how much profit we're actually making. So I'm just going to throw a number out here. I'm just going to, and this is just for an example, and you guys can put any number you want in here. And I'm just going to put that on there as 4,000. You know, if we do 4,000 flyers or door hangers or whatever we may do, that's a lot to do in a month. But let's just say for kicks and giggles, we do 4,000. And our conversion rate on those is, let's just say it's 2.5%. Most flyers when you send out, you get anywhere from 1% up to 4%. When you're doing flyers, and that's all based on where you're actually sending them and the market in which you're in. So, so what happens if I do a 2.5% off 4,000? That gives me 1,000. We're going to call those prospects because those are people that actually call us on the telephone. And out of those 100 people that call us, if they call us, in this particular example, we set up an appointment to actually give them a bid. I'm going to put on here conversion rate of 65% because that's the second of the 2 areas that I talked about. If we have 100 prospects that call us and we have 65% conversion rate, it's pretty simple. You go right underneath it where my block is. That means we have 65 clients that are okay to do business with us. This particular example, I use an average dollar sell of 125, and I got that number based on some people do cleaning, some people do handyman, some jobs are bigger, some are smaller. So, but just for this example, I just used the number $125. And each one of these clients is only doing 1 transaction with us per month or per year, whatever it may be. You can do this for year, week, month, whatever you want it. If they're only doing 1 transaction with us, our revenue, I came up with that revenue, is 65 clients times $125, which is our average dollar sell, doing only 1 transaction, comes out to $8,125. If your profit margin is 20%, the money that we kept from that is only $1,625. And out of that 80% that we use, hopefully we're paying ourselves, we're paying our rent, we're paying our employees, our taxes. That's everything that's actually left over is 20%. Again, this is an example. And so what I do is if I'm looking at this, I want to make small changes. And so what I'm going to show you is if we can increase each one of these by 10%, just a mere 10%, what that can do to your bottom line here. And so I'm going to do just our number of prospects. If we can get 100, surely we can get 110. So when I put that 10% in there, you'll notice over here on the right it actually changes. We can get 110. And the way we actually increase our number of prospects in this particular example is we do better marketing. What works better? What is the, I have tons of strategies, 73 strategies, and I'll send these out to you guys. I'll give them to Lydia and have her send it out to you. A lot of you guys have seen the sheet, but I'll send it out again. 73 strategies of ways to get the phone to ring, and that's simply through good marketing and testing and measuring. You increase your 10% by doing better marketing and finding out what people want. I have seen clients of mine do absolutely horrible, horrible flyers, but they put the right target at the right time, and the phones ring. It doesn't really matter what it looks like as long as it's the right target at the right time. And so increase that by 10%, takes our number of prospects, you see right here, from 100 to 110. Conversion rate, if we can increase that by a mere 10% too, it doesn't, If we take 10% higher, instead of 65% conversion rate, we're doing 72%. If people are calling you on the phone and you're making an appointment, I know a lot of you on the phone, after you get on that particular phone call or you're at their home, if you can actually get to your house, your conversion rate will actually go better. The number one conversion rate that most people that don't do is they simply don't ask for the sell. Too many of us are information givers. We give the information. We don't ask for the sell because we feel like it's way too pushy in order for us to do that. So we don't. We don't ask for the sell. But increasing that only by 10% takes us from 65 to 72%. You can see what's happening already is we've gone from 65 clients to 79 clients just by improving these two areas, our number of prospects and conversion rate, by a mere 10%. Average dollar sell. Average dollar sell, the best way to get more money is raising your prices. The way you raise and or cross-selling, I have the 68 strategies I'll send to you so you guys can look at those and choose which ones that may work for you better. But I want you guys to actually look at some of these strategies and put them in part of your goals is how do I increase that conversion rate? How do I get more out of them? But let's just say they're price conscious and, increasing it by 10%. If they'll pay 125, they'll pay 138. Increasing it by 10%, that's usually the hardest one to do because we're afraid. But there's been studies shown that when you increase by 10%, you don't lose that many clients. The fact of the matter is if you decrease your average dollar sell by 10%, you have to sell 22% more of the same product in order to be well off in this particular example. It's also the same. If you increase by 10%, you could sell 22% less and be just as well off. But you see what happened to this number, 125 to 138. Increasing our number of transactions. If we're only doing one transaction with this customer, to increase that by 10% takes that number from 1 to 1.1. How do you get people to buy from you more? Well, ask them to buy from you. Give them more reasons. You can kind of see what's happening on here is, just by increasing those four areas by 10%, we've gone from just over $8,000 to nearly $12,000, 46% more revenue we've increased by. And this profit margin, how do I get better profit margin? If I increase that by 10%, that's all about being efficient, is marking where you're going, making sure you're not passing up, places to market, people to see, getting people to buy from you over and over, and just being a lot more efficient. Where do I save gas? Where do I put people on piece rate? Where do I save money here and there? But you can see what happened is just by getting better, just by 10% in these particular areas, your profit margin increased by 61% just by making small changes. Looking at these, if we could increase a couple of them and double a few of these, just a couple of them, what if I could increase my number of prospects by doing better marketing by 100%? Look at the bottom line. What happens is your profit goes from $1,625 to nearly $5,000. What if I could increase my number of transactions? Instead of everyone doing one transaction per year or per month, let's do month, I can get everyone to do, 1.5, so we increase by 50%. All of a sudden, that profit in your pocket starts going up. It's not that much harder to increase those little areas, but in those areas, your marketing, it's all about marketing is math and finding out what works. Conversion rate, if you're at their house, we should be getting 100%. It's just making the small changes is what makes all the difference in your business. And so what I'm going to do is, our webinar's finishing up right now. What I want to do is I'm going to send these strategies out to each of you, and I'm also going to send the spreadsheet. Go ahead and just put your own numbers in there, and then find areas where you can make small changes in your particular business and see what it actually shows on there. The numbers don't lie, but we have to make those and implement the strategies for your own business. So